Hey everyone, welcome to the DM planning session for the finale and the penultimate session of Fragments. This campaign was 2.5 years long, and it's now 2 days past when I ran the finale, and it was awesome. This DM planning session is coming out a bit later just because I wanted to have the main session up first to show the epilogue and everything. As of now, yeah, Fragments is complete, and I wanted to go through my planning for the session. I'm not going to go through a play-by-play of all of the abilities that the boss monsters had. I want to make a video showing kind of how to homebrew your own BBG and what to consider when you are wanting to give your players a challenge with a boss, but not wanting to outright kill them, because it's a very difficult sort of sweet spot to find, and it's taken me many years to get to where I'm at, and I still have a long way to go, but I want to make a separate video to show people kind of my process about how to do that. So anyway, let's go through my notes. So I said that I did not do a DM planning session for session 37, so I'll go over that real quick. This session was mostly improvised. This was leading up to the finale. They had about a month left, and they split the group, went to the Silver Lake clan, Sea of Stars, Honk, and Zuskell did, to try to get the last glimmer fragment from Old Geothrax the Radiant. They ran into the Bloody Orphans there. I knew it would be a battle, and it would be hard fought, but they ended up pulling it off. It was really cool. I'll show the map I made for this. Actually, I did not make this map. I found it on Reddit. And just added some particle effects for snowing because I thought that was cool. I kind of homebrewed stats for Geothrax a little bit. I added some health. And I homebrewed stats for the 3 Bloody Orphans members who are alive. Oh, there's a lot of ambient noise in Foundry that it's picking up. That's funny. So Glyve, I wanted to be a gunslinger fighter, basically, who does a lot of damage, as you can see. Basically, I wanted to pose a threat to Sea of Stars at range, because very little does. And he has a reaction where whenever an opponent moves towards Glyve or attacks him, he can make an attack with his revolver first. And he has 3 of those reactions per turn, and I tracked that somewhere, but now I can't remember where. Oh, I was tracking it in platinum points, or platinum pieces, I mean, and then it adds 3, and then I go down. So yeah, that was good. Wantha was simple. I gave her 225 health, decent amount. I wanted these 3 to pose a challenge to the 3 members of the Assassin Brigade Company, but I knew that they weren't going to stick around for very long. Simple attacks, and then Pickwick is basically an assassin rogue. So they went there, they teleported in, stole that fragment, and got out, and it worked like really well. They felt really good about it. They managed to pull it off, and it was really cool seeing that happen. I wanted some text by Glyve just to say, or some dialogue to say, like, you know, give justification for why they were going after Honk so bad. Let's see, Vestment Arcanum was collecting, they were joining in Idris, and they were going to Fisk to try to help the effort, because Teacher put up this barrier. And then, so most of the session was just Hit helping Obeer craft, and then there were a lot of character moments. I wanted this to be the calm before the storm, so that my players could have a rest before having a session of fighting, and then the emotional payoff of an epilogue. So yeah, I think it ended up going fairly well. They leveled to 20 at the end, and a lot of stuff happened. Most of it was improvised. I had their old Ronan and Adrian and Shannon's old characters who were in a party for a game that I ran a long time ago show up. That was cool. Joey met a girl. Yeah, and Inna Yax. I also want to make a video about how I go about homebrewing these magical items, especially the glimmer fragments. because, you know, like legendary tier items, there's a lot of nuance to it, I think, and I'm not by any means the best, but I'll save that for another video. How about that? Anyway, into session 37, they arrive in Fisk, and the base Olgiathrax is showing up. They rescued Glimmer. Glimmer came back, and I gave some closure to Jowser as a story too. Totally improvised, but I really liked it. So anyway, going into 38, I knew that I did what I usually do when I have a to-do list of things I need to prep. And so I went through all of that, and then I made the flow. So started off with the Vestment Arcanum, giving them experience to level to 20. That was a story thing that I forgot about, but didn't really matter. Obeer gives them Sorceum Retainers. This was an item that I had homebrewed, but I decided to go away with. I tossed that and instead gave them 2 Superior Healing Potions and 1 Revivify Crystal, which I'm glad I did because that saved their asses. Conversation with Etrian and Thea and Kit. And Thea was going to do a death ward on Kit, but Kit or Zuskell maybe put a death ward on her? I don't know. Olgiathrax arrived, and there was a fight with Olgiathrax. So this session, I wanted there to be 3 big fights. I wanted the players to have this moment where they need to use abilities to survive. But I also didn't want it to be dire circumstances. So they had a bunch of help on this map. I homebrewed a lot of stuff for Olgiathrax. He's basically a bigger ancient silver dragon with a lot more health. Glimmer, Alexialia. I think this is actually raw. And I made a clockwork dragon that Obeer made. So I wanted there to be like tiers. I wanted it to be this kind of back and forth of shit keeps getting really scary, and the friends that they've amassed over the years, both in-game and out, are coming to their aid. So that was cool, and the dragons ended up killing Olgiathrax, which was awesome, and the other party, which helped out. Obeer made it, the portal open, basically, or made a door into the tower in the party, went in, and this is where I did a lot of planning. So also credit to Afternoon Maps on Reddit and Patreon for these maps. These were free, but huge thanks to you. So red slice through the sky. I wanted it to be evident that the Cinder Queen was going to come through, but I didn't want it to be I mean, it was imminent, but it's not like happening at the very moment. Like, they have a second to think and strategize. So they show up. Teacher is there alone. He had 15 health, if I'm remembering correctly. I keep wanting to open Firefox. Teacher had like 15 health and had the same stats as before, but he, only had 15. So he had all his spells. He was weakened from opening the portal, and he was using the 3 Convire Feint to do so. And Sea of Stars decided to kill him. There was a moment where they could have saved him. This was a kind of a branching path. I expected them to kill him, which was totally fine. But there was a moment for redemption if they decided to go that way. But I had a feeling that with the way the campaign was going, they were going to kill him. He transformed, into the Knight of Cinder. You can kind of look over his stats here. 4 legendary actions, 2 legendary resistances. Again, I will go through these bosses at some point. Lots of stuff. And he still had all the spells from Teacher. So I think he actually used Power Word Kill on Sea of Stars and took him out. And then summoned Estebria, the Cinder Queen, who actually should have 0 health. There you go. 5 legendary actions. I ended up nerfing this to 4 legendary resistances because it got a little insane, and I wanted them to have a chance. Again, you can look at the spell she has and stuff like her Scythe attack, which did 3d8 plus 9, 3d8 fire plus 9 slashing. It was a tough fight. Oh, and she had 850 health and regen 20 if not hit by radiant damage. Oh man, so there was a chance. So if Teacher died, I actually ended up switching this. If teacher lived, the knight was going to be in Estebria's phase. If the teacher died, then the knight was going to be in his own phase. So they were going to have to fight both regardless, but killing teacher meant that they got to fight him separately, which ended up saving them, I think. Let's see. Oh yeah, there was a chance to save Cindaria Veer. Didn't end up happening again, which is totally fine. That was part of, I think, teacher's redemption arc, which Terra was not interested in, and I was totally fine with skipping over. Estebria was summoned, and then the Estebria fight. Abir did fly up with the dragon to take, and ended up dying, but helped a lot in the fight, healing them, and they ended up killing Estebria. Zuskell and Caster died, but both of them had made preparations. Caster took a feat where he has basically a backup drive that ejects when he dies, and Zuskell made clones, and since she is a lich, things just worked out. They were saved, and I had to honor their character decisions, and I'm glad I did, because it made for a very satisfying finale. Aftermath, yeah, they had to get down. A mechanical butterfly flew to Kit. It wasn't set in stone that Abir was going to die, but it was pretty predictable. I wrote epilogues, and I won't go through them because I read them on the session. I did write stuff for Cindaria if she was brought back. I didn't for teacher. I can't remember why. And then a wrap-up text that I wrote just for the end of the campaign. And then, let's see, I did make a letter for Kit where I basically revealed, spoiler alert, Abir is Kit's father. I thought that was a good end to Kit's arc, because, you know, Kit's story was mostly happened before, her arc mostly happened before the campaign even started, and she was in a terrible place, and slowly she began to find herself, and then with the reveal that Seriko was the one who killed her mom instead of her, that was huge, and that helped Kit a lot, but I also knew that she was still bearing a lot of grief, especially a lot of abuse from her dad, so I showed her that, Shannon and Kit, heard that there was more than the reality that she knew, and I think that worked out well, and Shannon received it well, and I'm really proud of the end of this campaign. It was a lot of work and so much fun, and I'm so excited for the next campaign. But that's about all of my planning, really. I'll go through Estebria planning. Also, I don't own any art for the tokens, but I'll go through planning for all the bosses at some point at a later date, because I think that's something that a lot, level 20 bosses are something that most DMs kind of try to avoid, because there are a lot of really strong monsters in, like, Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, or the Monster Manual even. But homebrewing monsters it's so rewarding, I think. So anyway, thank you for watching, and thank you for tuning in for this whole series of DM planning sessions for Fragments. I'm really excited to do these for the Unseen as well, and yeah, I am really just overjoyed and so thankful that you all have stuck with us for this whole journey, and I hope that you have loved it as much as we have. I will catch you all later. Have a wonderful Telltale day. Goodbye.